This is the Mariners POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Seattle Mariners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Chat, that was not a fun baseball game. That was not a fun baseball game. The Mariners drop the fourth game of the series against the Kansas City Royals. Oh, man, there's a lot to complain about today. One of them was not Logan Evans. Logan Evans comes and does about as well as you can hope for a guy coming back from AAA who has struggled there. But he gets through 5.2 innings and about as good as you can look. Couple bad walks, but we'll get to the umpiring in a second. The umpiring is awful. The offense, besides Polanco and a little bit of Luke Raley, but not necessarily in a big enough moment for Luke Raley. But the offense was just not there. It wasn't there. You get terrible games from Julio, from Cal Raleigh. Once again, it's a couple in a row for Cal. I know he had the day off yesterday. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a couple big moments in this game that really, really grind my gears. It's the seventh inning walks from Casey Legamina to set up Bobby Witt Jr. You can't be walking the bottom of the lineup, bro. You just can't. It's the fourth inning when you do get the Polanco solo blast, and then you have Luke Raley with a double right after that, and get three straight just awful ABs from your 7, 8, 9 hitters at that, or 6, 7, 8 hitters at that point. You had Seth Lugo on the ropes. That was no outs. You get the leadoff home run and then a Luke Raley double right after that, and you get nothing from that after just three pathetic at bats. You could have guessed it was Dylan Moore out there. This is a really, really funny chat. That made my that made my night a little bit better. Debt, taxes, and Dom Canzone homering in a close loss. It's so true, man. Oh God, that's so true. He does hit the homer to make it close. I mean, and you get a couple good at bats in the ninth inning from Master Boney. And then who was before him? I'm trying to remember now as I pull up the box score. The Dom Canzone homer, the Master Boney, you get JP Crawford single. That was a big at bat from him, doing what he absolutely needs to do, the opposite of what Julio did. Because, man, I feel like it's all or nothing with Julio, because his approach at the plate is either I'm trying way too hard to be the guy to hit this ball over the fence, or I'm just hoping for a walk. And that's what it ended up being in that situation there. Yes, the call was extremely borderline. It could have gone either way. I mean, I'm so used to it at this point that it's not even like a thing for me anymore. I'm just like, yeah, all right, it happens, whatever. I shouldn't be. Like, we should have robot umpires. I'm just saying that right now. But I'm just used to it at this point. I've been frustrated enough times. I think the Legamina ones were way worse and had a much bigger impact on this game. And we can go over kind of the blow up in the seventh inning from the Mariners, as they were the ones of the beneficiary end of the seventh inning blow up last night when they get their couple runs to, pad their lead. And it's tonight they give it up to Kansas City. Just a tough one, man. You needed 3 out of 4 from this series. Splitting the series isn't good enough, especially now that the word has come out that you're going to see Paul Skeens on Sunday, because now you are basically forced to go win the next 2 games. Because you have George Kirby going against him. And Pittsburgh's not a great team, but they've been hot. They've been really hot. And going against Paul Skeens is definitely not an easy task. Probably my vote for best starting pitcher in the majors. Maybe you add Zach Wheeler into that. I don't know, but he's just so dang good. I just don't know, man. There's a lot to be frustrated with this game. My name's Anderson Hurst. Once again, riding solo on the Mariners POSTCAST tonight. It is really hot in here. That's why I'm wearing the JP Crawford basketball jersey. Check it out if you guys want it. I think it comes out later this weekend. So it's cool. I like it a lot, but it helps me, especially when I'm in a hot apartment like I am now. But boy, the offense was not hot. It just was not hot tonight. I'm riding solo tonight. Once again, Chris Crawford had to take care of a couple things. He'll be back with you guys tomorrow. I will be with you guys tomorrow as well. Remember, it's a 110 game tomorrow. But let's talk about this game. Logan Evans. Let's start with the start. Really, really good. He goes, let's look at his final line here. 5.2 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, just the 1 walk and the 3 Ks. Like, if you're calling a guy up from AAA, that's exactly what you're asking for. Maybe to get through that 6th, so we can get the full 6 innings and just have the 3 innings of work for the bullpen to do. But it is what it is. You know, like, you can't ask for much more than what he gave you tonight. He absolutely battled through a not good Royals lineup, but he came up with the pitches that he absolutely needed to. He was getting soft contact. He was perfect through 3. So if you look at his stats, and I'm going to ask Chris about this maybe tomorrow, because I know we break down the game that just happened, but I have a question with him because I'm not someone who is as much of an expert with the pitching development side and everything. How abnormal? I mean, obviously, the first time through the lineup is most likely going to be your most successful time through the lineup. The second time is going to be a little bit less. And then the third time, they always say a third time through the lineup that's when most pitchers get taken out of the game, unless you're one of the elite starters. But if you look at Logan Evans' splits, the first time through the lineup, he's like one of the best in the league. He has like, I think, just over a 1 ERA. And I'm looking at from the batter's perspective, he's giving up let's see, times facing. He's giving up a 570 OPS, which is extremely low. 190 batting average, 242 on base, and 328 slugging against Logan Evans the first time through the lineup. Absolutely magnificent stuff. But then for the second time, it jumps all the way up to a 375 batting average, a 419 on base with a 679 slugging for a 1.098 OPS. You're basically Cal Raleigh going through the second time of the lineup against Logan Evans. And we saw that today because he was perfect through 3, looked extremely efficient, was getting he got Bobby Witt out twice, which was great. But then he kind of got in a little bit trouble in the 4th inning, ends up getting out of that one to keep the lead for the Mariners at 1-0 at that point. And then in the bottom of the 4th, Jorge Polanco had an excellent game tonight. Let's take a quick moment before we get into the negatives and talk about how good Jorge Polanco was tonight, because that is a big, big development. If you get him and Randy, I know Randy was bad tonight, you know, ups and downs of the 162-game season. If you get him and Randy going, this offense is going to be in a lot better shape. Now, with Julio really on the struggle bus now, coming back down, I don't know how much that's going to pay off in terms of the trade-off. This is why you need just more bats at the deadline. You really need a couple more bats. Polanco hits a leadoff home run at the top of the 4th. Mariners go up 1-0. Luke Raley hits a double on the first pitch right after that. You have Seth Lugo on the ropes. Nobody out. Raley at second base. You have to get that run in at the very least. I kind of have a ungiven rule, maybe like unwritten rule, you should say, that whoever's on base with no outs, that's at least the amount of runs you should be getting in that inning. So especially if they're in scoring position, right? So if you get the bases loaded, no outs, you should be getting 3 runs. That's a good general rule of thumb. If you get a guy on second with nobody out, he should be getting home. And that's exactly what happened with Luke Raley, but 3 bad at bats from Dom Canzone, Ben Williamson, and Cole Young. And it kind of blew the whole momentum. Now, I know you're still up 1-0 at that point, but it ends up biting you because we talked about this last night on the positive side. When you get that extra run, it saves you because you need it later in the game. But then in the 7th inning, so Legumina comes in the 6th because Logan Evans can't fully get through it, but he comes and closes the door in the 6th inning, stays out there for the 7th, gets 1 out, but then walks 2 straight batters to get to Bobby Witt. So that's the 9 hole and the 1 hole with Jonathan India, which you just can't be doing. You can't be putting guys on base against their one elite hitter. I understand, like, there's a lot of... Now, I'm more upset with the umpiring in those two at-bats than I am in the Julio at-bat, 100%. There were a couple, like, really bad calls during those two that actually ended up hurting the Mariners in a bigger way than at the end of the game. I know the end of the game gets very, like, kind of zoomed in, but the calls against Legumina in the 7th inning, there were some bad ones, man. And you could see his face. He was like, what? How do you call that a ball? So, and I said it ends up biting them because Bobby Witt then singles. Vargas comes in to face Bobby Witt. He singles immediately off of him to tie the game, and then Vinny Pasquantino singles and plates two, including, my gosh, how good of a player is Bobby Witt Jr., man? That slide. I've seen some compilations on YouTube of some crazy slide avoidances recently. I don't know, they're just popping up in my feed, but that's got to be added to it. That was insane how he got around that and just kind of tapped. It wasn't even like he was scrambling or anything. He knew exactly where Cal was going to reach, put his outside arm around it, and then just tapped home plate, and he knew exactly what it was. You saw no argument from Cal either, because that was crazy. That's such a good play and such good heads up, like, instincts, and you don't see that in every single baseball player. So the Royals go up 3-1 at that point. Then you get the Dom Canzone home run in the 9th inning after Estevez comes in the end of the 8th inning to close out that inning. I mean, and then the 9th inning. Let's just roll through everything. Actually, you know what? I'm already a little bit late to give some love to our sponsors, so I'm going to do that real quick. But in the comments, while I am talking to you guys about lovely Supply House and Game Time, tell me what your biggest issue with the 9th inning was. Was it Julio's at bat? Was it Cal's at bat? Was it the umpiring? What was your biggest issue with that 9th inning as I roll through these and give some love to our sponsors? Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. And they make buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and the lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. My favorite part about Game Time is if you're just looking for the best deal, like I'm not always someone to just get the cheapest seats and figure it out later. Like if there's, you get down the first baseline if you're going to a Mariners game, and they're normally maybe 120, and it's down to like 60 or 50 on Game Time, which I see multiple times, by the way. I'm snagging those up right away, and it lists all the best deals for you. So it's the perfect kind of app for me, as I like to kind of figure out where I'm going to sit in the stadium as I get closer to Game Time. And you can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, let's go through the ninth inning here. So as we talked about earlier, the Mariners get a little bit of a weird inning in the seventh to kind of, I don't want to say blow up. I know I put it on my background here, but it's not a full complete blow up. Like you just couldn't find the strike zone. There were a couple really bad calls, and then it's at the wrong time in the lineup is the bigger issue for me. You can't be doing that to the 9-1 hitters leading up to Bobby Witt Jr. That dude is by far the best offensive player on their team. And he has a little bit of a down year this year, but he was the runner-up for AL MVP last year. So it's just, it was very avoidable. And unfortunately, it came back to bite the Mariners. But you go into the ninth inning with a 3-1 deficit, kind of looking like, all right, we split the series, whatever. But early on, Dom Canzone to lead off the inning hits a dead center home run where it's like, all right, we're back in this game. Dom Canzone with a big, pumped up, yell as he goes into the dugout, thinking all right, these guys are going to get juiced back up. Let's get going. I was just praying for a big moment from someone. That leaves it to Miles Mastrobuoni as he hits for Ben Williamson. He hits a single that just drops right before the right fielder. Cole Young strikes out. Tough AB for him. A little tough night for him and the bottom of the lineup in general, but that's going to happen. I'm not as concerned with that because, he's a rookie. This is what you expect from a guy like that. JP Crawford then has an excellent at-bat. You looked at first pitch he swung at, it looked like he was trying to hit it to Mars, and I was like, he's going to strike out 100% here. But then he kind of honed it in, and this is the difference with JP Crawford from this year that I saw last year from him. Is yes, he has that pitch where he can go all in and try and hit the home run. And last year he would do that the entire at bat, but he realizes, okay, that was my pitch to hit out. Now I got to go to my 2-strike approach, and he does it as good as anyone. Goes the opposite way. Absolutely, just perfect hit. You get first and second with 1 out for Julio Rodriguez. So let's talk about the Julio Rodriguez at bat because earlier in the game, I actually thought it was a very good at bat, his walk in the first inning, and he gets to second base with a stolen base, but nothing ends up coming of that. So let's remember that as we evaluate this ninth inning. Now, I know it's the first inning versus the ninth inning. This is why, he has kind of that label as a not clutch player right now, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree. I don't have the utmost confidence in him at all. Coming up in that moment, and I didn't today. I would have rather someone, obviously Cal Raleigh, but even he didn't do his job either. But the biggest thing with Julio is that there was 1 out, and then especially after the wild pitch, you get second and third with 1 out. You don't need a home run, dog. A base hit wins the game, and even less than that, get it to the outfield, and it ties the game because you can hit a sac fly. Now, anyone asking for the bunt there? No, no. He's going to swing away, and I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with that. But you got to get the ball to the outfield, and it's an approach change for him, man. You could tell, I know I don't know him as a person, but I've been around him. I've been around the clubhouse. He wants it so bad. I think he wants it too much, to be honest, for someone, especially. His youth kind of comes into that factor a little bit as well. When you're 24 and you've been handed the keys to the franchise, basically, and you have shown that you can do it for long stretches during a season, and you aren't coming up, you just want that even more. You want to work your tail off to get back to where you expect yourself to be, and he's just not there right now. I want to go through the entire sequence because the called strike. Honestly, the first pitch was the one to do. There's been a kind of a split amongst the community with Julio recently about being either too aggressive or not aggressive enough. And I think that split in the community is happening in his head as well. Because I think one thing, what made him really good when he was his rookie year and his second year in 2023 was that he was very aggressive. Now, the downside of being that aggressive is that you're going to strike out a lot. You're going to have a lot of swing and miss when you're trying to time up the fastball, especially inside, right? Now, because everyone, maybe his coaching staff as well, but obviously everyone in the media, the fans, the strikeouts have become a huge deal. And you can see it, and Chris has talked about this before, you can see that he's almost just trying not to strike out. And that's why he is late to the fastball inside, because he doesn't want to overswing for the slider away, which he still does, by the way. But it ruins his entire timing. It's not who he is as a hitter. I want him to go back to who he was in 2022 and 2023. I would gladly take that version of him right now, because he just needs to attack. He needs to recognize the pitch, and he needs to attack. And he's not doing that right now. He's reacting. He's reacting to something thrown to him, and he's expecting his bat speed to catch up to it. And it's just not happening. It's not happening, and you can't do that at the major league level. I don't care how talented you are. You cannot do that at the major league level. So I just want to see him. I realized there was a stretch where he was swinging at every single first pitch, and it didn't exactly work out for him. It's not as simple as just swinging at the first pitch or taking the first pitch. It's a mentality change as a hitter. That's the difference that I want to see from Julio. It's not as simple. It's like in your golf swing. It's like, I'm going to change my grip. That's going to fix my entire swing. That's not how it works. You got to have an entire approach change to where you know what you're doing when you step into the batter's box. All right. So, and that's something that I really haven't seen the adjustment from him. And I really want to, because he's such a fun guy to root for. He plays great defense. He still gives you value on the base paths. There's so many good things about him. He's a great personality to be around. All the players love him. I just want him to be a better hitter. And I think it still will come, but I don't know if it'll come as soon as everyone is expecting at this point. So it was a tough spot for him. And I think it's a kind of a microcosm of where he is right now in his career and where he is right now in the season. So I also think if he had better hitters around him, that mentality that we talked about wouldn't be there. He wouldn't have to feel like the pressure's on him to be the guy. He could, let loose and know that you have a better hitter behind you. Now, I know he has Cal behind you, but you have an entire lineup of guys. But when it's just one or two guys that are going, you feel the pressure like, dang, if I don't do something, then no one else will. So it's a failure on the Mariners. It is a failure on Julio Rodriguez as well. But there's just so much blame to go around. And I don't want him walking anyway. I want him to be the guy to be like, all right, I'm going to recognize, if it's a pitch that I can't hit, I'm going to take the walk, right? But I want to be the aggressive, I want to be the guy to make the play. Be excited to make plays. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And those are two completely different mentalities. So he strikes out on a call, a very, very borderline call. It is a strike, though. If that's called a ball, Carlos Estevez is very upset as well. So it's just a tough one. It's a tough one for him. He's very close to a 700 OPS right now, which just isn't good enough. It's not good enough from your 2-hole. And you don't have an option to move him down because there's no one good enough behind him. So, but kind of lost in everything is how bad Cal's at bat was right after that. Now, I understand there's 2 outs. He doesn't have the sac fly available to him, and it's a different at bat for sure. But it's kind of, we're a game reaction here. Cal had just as bad an at bat as Julio did, in a less likely situation, so to speak, but it was just as bad as Cal was. So that ends up being the Mariners drop the final, and you split the series against the Kansas City Royals, which is a series you should not be splitting. It's a series you should be winning 3 of 4, and you should have been winning 2 of 3 against the Pirates as well. So dare I say you really want to sweep against the Pirates to kind of make up for this one? If you win 2 out of 3, that's okay, but 2 really bad teams come into town, you should be expecting to win both of those series. So I don't know. Cal's 0 for 5 today. That's another thing. He doesn't get on base once. I think this is the last 2 games as well, where he had 0 for 5 for 4 Ks, and today 0 for 5 for just 1 K, but he doesn't get on base in either of those 2 games. So I don't know. There's a lot of blame to go around. I understand everyone's frustrated about the Julio thing. I am too. I really am, especially after we felt like we were gathering momentum. But the game was lost in the first 7 or 8 innings because, man, Logan Evans just deserves better. He put in a winning performance from from the starting pitcher tonight, and you just didn't get any of it from the offense. And as I put out in my tweet, this is just so true. And it was true in 2022, 2023, and 2024 as well. If the pitching isn't perfect, literally perfect, if they make no mistakes, you might win. You probably will win, because if your pitching's perfect, you're doing well. But if it's not, your offense isn't good enough to make up for it right now. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. So I don't know, man. It's where the Mariners are at right now. They need some help badly. And they need to really, really win this series against the Pirates starting tomorrow. 1-10 game for the 4th of July. Just before we get out of here, I want everyone to stay safe. Have a good time. Appreciate you hanging out with me today. An excellent postcast. I love kind of venting with you guys. And sorry for showing you my absolutely pale white arms. I need to get a little air in here because it is toasty in my apartment today. So really love having you guys hang out today. Chris will be back with us tomorrow, I believe. So we'll be able to kind of break it all down, give a little bit more of an analytical approach instead of just reactions like me. I'm just a schmuck who watches a lot of baseball. So hopefully the Mariners end up kind of putting this one behind them and getting at least 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. I'm kind of hoping for a sweep personally. That would really kind of put this series out of sight a little bit. But you needed to take 3 or 4, just you didn't, and it sucks. And it wasn't because of the pitching. We went in yesterday after knowing that it was going to be Logan Evans instead of Brian Wu, thinking that, now they're kind of putting the white flag. And it wasn't because of Logan Evans that we lost this game. Absolutely not. He was probably the best player for the Mariners today. But unfortunately, Polanco and a little bit of Rayleigh are the only ones. I guess you could say Canzone with a solo blast, but doesn't really mean anything in the end. Are the only ones that get offense for the team. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. We really, really, really need to get this one against the Pirates. So let's hope for a dub. Let's hope for a dub ski. Oh, really quick. Unsung hero for me is Eduardo Bazardo. After the kind of blow up from Legamina and Carlos Vargas in the 7th inning, Bazardo comes in and just shuts down the lineup in the 8th inning, kind of keeping things at least as close as he possibly can. Still looks really good. They're overusing the crap out of him, but hey, if he continues to pitch well, you got to keep using him. So Eduardo Bazardo is my unsung hero, but comment who you guys' unsung hero is, and please like the video because it does us a huge favor. Like, comment, all that fun stuff. And if you missed any part of today's episode, you can check it out in any podcast platform that you use. It'll be up just a few minutes after we go live. And if you want to see my face, just make sure to go back to the Locked On Mariners page, go to the live, and then you'll see all of our postcasts right there. Really appreciate you guys. Go Mariners. We'll talk to you tomorrow. 1-10 first pitch against the Pirates.